In a world of riot and ruin, dear, you're my shelter in the glow. With your pit boy on your wrist.
Well, hey there, my little devils. Y'all found your way back to the signal? Glad to have you back. Last time, our boy Nate came home from Greentop carrying something heavier than a Brahmin pack. He came home owing Piper a story. Today he pays that debt. But sugar, before we get there, Nate's got a whole day of walking, talking, and yes, more people needin' saving. And some needin' killed. Because that's just how it goes out here, sugar. The wasteland doesn't care what's sitting heavy on your heart. It just keeps handing you the next thing. It's up to you to decide what to do with it. Tape 23 is now rolling.
Log 023, November 16th, 2287. It's 24 days. No, it's actually been 25 since I woke. Well, was thawed out. Today was a very long day, and I'm exhausted. I'll power through this the best I can. It's a lot. We woke up to rain. It sounded peaceful. The settlers made us breakfast before we headed out. Corn porridge and moot fruit. It was good. Real good, actually. We talked over breakfast. I told them that we got off on the wrong foot yesterday and apologized for my outburst. They agreed and said they were just not used to anyone out in the wasteland that wanted to help and not just loot and terrorize. Honestly, that broke my heart. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to shake that part of my pre-war life. The part where you didn't constantly look over your shoulder. You just expected everyone to be nice. You trusted people until they gave you a reason not to trust them anymore. The safety you felt. Don't get me wrong, bad people were around, and bad things did happen. But you just never thought about it. Not unless you read it in a newspaper, saw it on the news, or it happened to you or someone you cared about. I was exposed to bad people a lot in my line of work. But even then, the general population was more good than bad. That's just really hard for me to let go. And maybe that's why the bombs dropped in the first place. Maybe we were so blind to what was actually happening that we didn't even see the bombs coming. Maybe the signs were all there for a while, but we were just happily living our lives with no thought of what could happen. I remember sitting through briefings and thinking, that'll never happen. Maybe all that safety and security we felt was never really real. Maybe... Stop it, Nate. Just stop. Doesn't matter. That's not reality anymore. I need to focus on what is real. I walked the perimeter with the settlers, gave them some pointers on defense. Solid setup overall. Just a few blind spots that needed to be pointed out and shored up. It'll hold, for a while at least. They were grateful and insisted we take some moot fruit with us. We did. Piper was watching me the whole time. She liked that I did that. Told me so after we left the farm and walked past the sinkhole. She said she'd never met anyone like me before. I turned away. I didn't say anything for a few minutes, then stopped. I turned to her to look into her eyes. I simply said, "Thank you." Then started walking again. Took us almost a full day to make it back to Sanctuary Hills. Not much trouble along the way. A few small raider groups and some bloatflies. I swear those things are everywhere. Thankfully, none of these encounters were too dangerous. Piper offered to carry some of the loot from the raiders, and that was a huge help. I've almost gathered enough scrap leather to put together some passable armor. Piper and I talked more on the road, got to know each other a little better. She didn't repeat herself, didn't tell me another story about surviving something. This time she asked me something instead. She wanted to know if I was scared. Not of dying out here. She said everybody's scared of that. It doesn't count. She wanted to know if I was scared of what happens after I find him. After Sean. I didn't have an answer ready. How could I have had an answer ready for that question? That's not how my mind works. So, I told her the truth. That I don't let myself think about the after. That after doesn't exist yet. There's just the next step, and the one after that. And I can't afford to look further down the road than that, or I'll lose my mind. She didn't push, just nodded. Walked next to me for a while without saying anything else. It's strange. She's like Nora in that way. Knowing when to ask for more, and when to just let the conversation fade out. As we passed Malden Middle School, I stopped. Just for a second. Told Piper we needed to drink some water. Not sure she bought it, but she didn't pry. I turned towards the school, took a drink, and thought, I'll be back to find some answers, Cruz. Just a thought. Didn't say it out loud. Wasn't sure if I meant it for her or for me. Put the bottle back in my pack, and we kept moving. When we made it back to Sanctuary Hills, I found Preston to tell him about the 2 settlements. He was pleased. Immediately told me about another one that needed help. Of course he did. Then said he needed to talk to me about something else. He keeps calling me General. I've told him to stop. But he says the Minutemen need a leader. They need someone to follow. When I told him he is better suited for that, he said no. He said he is overwhelmed with grief and feels responsible for the Quincy massacre. He said that he was better suited in an operational role and that he has watched how I handle things. He asked me again to become their leader. Piper just cocked her head at me when he said all of that. I could feel her watching for my reaction, and it made me even more uneasy. I told him yes, but I didn't want him to call me General. He said, "Whatever you say, General." So, that happened today. Preston started in about some old fort the Minutemen used to hold. Said it'd make a good central location. Big radio tower. Could reach every settlement. I told him that wasn't something I could focus on right now. Told him I had a lead on Sean and needed to get to the glowing sea. That settlements could fix their own problems for once. Piper didn't love how dismissive I was when I brushed him off. But I've been putting off my trip to the glowing sea. My quest to find answers for Sean for too long. Trashcan Carla was in Sanctuary, so we were able to trade a few items and sell some of the less valuable loot. She's a traveling merchant that's not all that personable. When I first ran across her, she was at the diner when all hell broke loose a few days ago. I told her she had the personality of a mole rat. She laughed and told me she'd give me better prices for that. And she has. She keeps a pretty steady supply of junk and ammo. She's also the only traveling merchant I've seen that doesn't travel with guards. I'll have to dig a little deeper as to why. I filed that in my ever-growing one-day file for now. Piper still seemed a little upset about how I ended the conversation with Preston. So, I found him and told him I'd check on the new settlement on my way to Diamond City. Then I turned to Piper, told her I'd do her interview, if she wanted. She lit up. I mean it. The whole look on her face changed. We found a quiet spot in one of the empty houses. Sat across from each other at a table with chairs. She had her notepad out. She started easy. Asked about vault life, what it was like. I told her I wasn't in there long enough to have a life. Told her we were frozen almost the second the door sealed shut. She stopped writing, just looked at me. "Wait," she said. "You mean you were alive? Before all of it? Before the bombs fell?" She told me that she had heard rumors about a guy from a vault that was alive before the bombs fell. but she just assumed he was a ghoul. I just nodded. I watched it land on her, watched her do the math. 210 years, and what that actually means, sitting 3 feet away from a man who's not a ghoul. Then I just talked. Told her about Nora. Not the version I give myself at 0300 when I can't sleep. The real one. The way she used to hum when she cooked and never knew she was doing it. The way she'd catch me watching her and get this look on her face. Told her about Sean, the crib, the blanket. Told her about watching Kellogg shoot her and take Sean. Told her how helpless and angry I was that I couldn't do anything. How I couldn't protect them. I told her everything. It's like I couldn't stop talking once I started. I told her about burying Nora right there in Sanctuary, about hunting down and killing Kellogg, about living his memories, and about needing to go to the glowing sea. Piper didn't write any of it down. She just let me talk. Didn't interrupt. Didn't ask a single follow-up until I was finished. She had her hand on mine. I hadn't even noticed. It was a kind gesture, a reassuring one. Telling Piper made it real in a way the calendar never could. Made me understand, actually understand, that the world moved on 2 centuries without me in it. But I'm allowed to still be standing in what's left of last week. I think that's the first time I let myself believe that. The interview took less than 30 minutes, but it felt like it took years off me. She said it was going to make a real difference to people back at Diamond City reading it. I'm not so sure about that part, but she was happy. So I was happy she was happy. We gathered supplies and headed out. I'll admit, I was surprised how well Sanctuary Hills is running. 13 people there now, all doing something different. The whole place is cleaned up. They even built a proper shack for some extra sleeping quarters. One of the new settlers used to be a merchant. We've got an actual store now. Trade routes established in a matter of days. That's remarkable. That's people building something out of nothing. Preston's doing good work here. But it was time to move. We left Sanctuary and went back to Forward Base Alpha to do more repairs on my power armor. Finally had enough scrap and circuitry to do it right. I still need more fusion cores though, and a real stockpile of Rad-X and Radaway before I even think about walking into that radiation zone. Ground Zero, even after 210 years, is still lethal. That's not something I can be careless about. Ada was there, patrolling the perimeter, making toaster noises, and asking if I was ready to fight the Mechanist yet. I said no. She beeped and booped and walked away. Piper started to ask me a question, but I just told her I'd explain another time. I took her up to my shelter on the roof and showed her the bed. I didn't think that through, though. Don't get the wrong idea. I wanted her to sleep. She started blushing and awkwardly looking for words before it struck me that I was giving the wrong idea. I can be that way sometimes. I explained that I wanted her to get some sleep. I would be downstairs working on the power armor and would come get her in a few hours. She looked relieved, maybe? I was able to get the power armor to about 90%, but there are some spots on the left arm that I need more metal and duct tape to secure properly. Duct tape is great at sealing areas that could potentially let in gas or radiation, and that's not an area I want to miss a step on. I let her sleep while I worked. A few hours is all it took. Then, we headed out. Moving through the night can both be treacherous and helpful at the same time. Because I have traveled this route multiple times now, and planned on staying on the roadways as much as possible, we were going to be moving as fast as possible. The dark provides us cover, but it also provides cover for everything else. Also, talking was going to be limited because noise travels farther at night. Coming up on MedTech research, I spotted a feral about 300 yards out. Took the shot, dropped him. Wasn't the smartest call. A dozen more came pouring out after that. Those things close distance fast. I went for legs. Figured if I could put them on the ground, they'd stop being a threat before they got close enough to bite. Worked. None of them reached us. We walked the line afterward and finished each one. Didn't want to leave them for whoever came through next. While we were clearing that area, a handful of those cobbled-together robots came up from behind. We heard them coming and took cover behind a busted wall. We were hoping to stay out of sight and that they'd just move on past us, but they must have had some kind of sensor because they made a beeline straight at us. Piper's a hell of a shot. She took one out in the first few seconds. I'd pulled a pulse grenade off a raider earlier in the day and rolled it down the road when the last two robots got closer. After the robots were down, we took a minute to look around the structure, if that's what you would call it. I think it used to be a clinic, but it looked like a bomb exploded in the center and leveled the place. We found bodies. Brotherhood of Steel, again. Their power armor had been fused together, melted, deliberately. There was a holotape on one of them, Night Varum, painted an ugly story of an ambush and their fusion cores running on empty. Knight Astlin from the National Guard training facility was one of the survivors of that ambush. They were outnumbered 5-1. They fused the armor themselves, so it couldn't be salvaged and used by whoever came after them. Whatever's out here picking off Brotherhood patrols, I don't like it. These guys have serious protection, training, and weaponry. Another quest filed away for later. Found a small settlement up ahead. We'd been walking a long time, so we stopped. Doc Weathers had a caravan set up there. Bought every bag of Radaway he had. 9 bags. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth it. A settler ran up to me while we were there. Said his friend had been taken. Said there was a ransom, 400 caps, due tonight, and he didn't have it. Said he was afraid they'd kill him. Said he thought he knew where they were being held. I told him I'd help, just like that. We were running on fumes, but I could tell that this guy was genuinely frightened. This was not like the stupid ambush set up at the hardware store a couple days ago. Piper wanted to come. I asked her to stay at the settlement instead, in case anyone showed up while I was gone. She agreed and stayed behind. Before I left, she grabbed my arm, looked right at me, told me to be careful. She meant it. I told her not to worry. I meant that. He showed me on the map where he was supposed to take the caps, where his friend was being held. Raiders. Go figure. Holed up in Monsignor Plaza. I wasn't in a mood to negotiate. I meant it when I told Piper to stay back in case the guy escapes. But, mostly, I knew how I was going to rescue the guy, and I just didn't want her to see that side of me. Took the first 3 guards down at range before I ever set foot inside. About a dozen more in the plaza, and a couple turrets. These guys don't think, they just react. That makes them predictable. Predictable gets them killed. Besides, they felt like they were safe. Posted guards were sloppy and easy to take down without much effort or noise. I was able to use my combat knife for most of this mission. Wet work. That's what it's called when you neutralize a tango with your knife. It's an accurate description. Stealth was the best play here. I used their arrogance to my advantage, and the whole thing was over in 30 minutes flat. Found the prisoner in the basement. He looked like he was about to have a full panic attack when I told him I wasn't going to untie him yet. I explained it plain. I'd be back for him, but cutting him loose too early with more raiders possibly still around could get us both killed. He calmed down enough to listen. I cleared the rest of the building, came back, cut his ropes, and walked him back. It was 0400 by the time we made it back to the settlement. Piper was still up, pulling guard, on her own. No one asked her to. That's worth noting. The friend? We had to wake him up. But when he saw why, I've genuinely never seen someone that relieved. Said he never thought anybody would actually come help. Said nobody ever does. I've heard that line too many times out here already. Told him to thank the Minutemen. He said they'd join up. I asked if we could rest there a few hours before moving on. He gave up his bed. I told Piper I'd walk the perimeter first, found somewhere quiet, and recorded this. We will finish our trip to Diamond City later. Now, I'm going to go lay down before the sun comes up. It's been a long day. This is Staff Sergeant Nathaniel Campbell. out.
Well, General Campbell. I mean, that's a pretty big title for a man that was a popsicle. Nate accepted it, but doesn't seem to want it. Can't say I blame him either. I'd have probably punched Preston in the mouth for even suggesting it. But this is just one more time that our boy Nate goes and surprises me. And surprises just seem to keep coming with him. 'Cause we've listened to a lot of tapes up to this one, Sugar. Some of them hard ones, some of them pretty easy. But that interview? That's the first time I've heard our boy Nate say Nora's name and not sound like he was bracing for a hit right after. He's been wrestling with something for a while now. I've caught it. Maybe you have too. You ever carry something so long, you forget what it's like to not carry it? You ever wish you could just set it down? Well, that's what he did today. He set a little of that weight, that guilt, down. Not all of it. Probably not even most of it, but some of it. He agreed to an interview and gave her a story that hopefully gave hope to those that would read it. And here's the thing that gets me, Sugar. He didn't do it for himself. Not really. He did it so somebody besides him would know Nora existed, would know she mattered, would know Sean was out there and somebody was still looking for him. That you don't give up hope. That's what inner strength looks like, honey. That's a man making sure the people he loves don't just disappear into the dust with everybody else this world's already forgotten. And honey, this world's forgot a lot of people. He told that story, so it'd be one less. Now, Piper asked him a direct question today, too. Asked if he was scared of what happens after he finds Sean. Not if he thinks he would find him. Not his plan to find him. But what happens after? He didn't answer it. Not really. Just said, after doesn't exist yet. I think that's something we've got in common with our boy Nate, Sugar. Out here, we don't get the luxury of after. We get next. Next step, next settlement, next fight, next meal. Maybe that's a wound. Or maybe that's just how you survive long enough to earn an after at all. That's more than we can work through on this little show, though. But I would like to find the answer to the 2 Brotherhood patrols that had been wiped out. Astlin at the National Guard training facility. Now, we learned she was part of Varham's squad, escaped that ambush, only to die anyways. Then he and another one was killed at that clinic as well? Something was out there hunting them, the Brotherhood, and I don't like it. I may have parted ways with the Brotherhood a few years back because of, well, let's call it creative differences. But taking out a squad of Brotherhood Knights in power armor? That's not an easy task. That's a task that even super mutants find difficult. But that's a worry for another tape. Nate filed it away with his ever-growing one-day list. And that's a growing list indeed. You ever had a list of one-days? Things you're planning on doing someday? Maybe something you want to learn how to do, or someplace you want to explore. Or maybe someone you want to get to know better. Well, Sugar, what you waiting on? I'll bet you're listening to me right now and saying, easy for you to say, Dusty. You're smart and funny and got everything going for you. Well, maybe not that last part. But seriously, what are you waiting for? Life ain't about to slow down and wait on you to catch up. You just got to, well, start. If you take nothing else from tonight's tape, take this. Start. Do the thing you've wanted to do. Take the trip. Introduce yourself to the one you like. Learn something new. 'Cause I can tell you from experience, Sugar, life ain't gonna wait on you. It'll pass you right on by. You know who else won't wait on you? That old coot Gmail. He'll walk on by your place and go straight to the saloon for a drink, lest you stop him. So grab him and hand him a letter for your old gal Dusty, and let me know what's going on with you. I'll read it. I read 'em all. There was more to talk about on tonight's tape. Nate had a right plumb, busting at the seams kind of day today. Why, he was as busy as a rad scorpion on roller skates. But no matter how tired old Natey boy is, how busy he always finds time to help those that need it. He'd been up all day and into the night when that stranger asked him for help. And he didn't hesitate. Even gave some more teach-ins along the way. Wet work. Yeah. Nate's a dangerous fella. He marched right into a secure camp of raiders and took them out one by one, without a care in the world. He was in his element. He opened up that cage and let out the killer. But even with that ability, that side of himself, he finds a way to share the load with someone else. He lessens his burdens. I'd like you to sit with that for a spell. Think on it for a while. Somebody out there is carrying something heavy. Maybe that someone is you. And you've been carrying it so long that you've convinced yourself that's just what your shoulders are for. They're not, sugar. Find your piper. Find whoever's willing to just listen and let you take some of that weight off. None of us go through this crazy world alone, even when it feels like we are. And if you feel like you don't have nobody to talk to me. The courier network's always open. You deserve to step a little lighter tomorrow. You really do. Stay close to the signal. Stay alive. Stay strange. Dusty, out.
Stay close, my vault dweller. Don't roam too far from me. With you I build our paradise beneath the desert sea. Oh my Calvin, you make my heart far away.
This is Garrett Klein, the one-man creative force behind the Dusty Signal podcast and the solo creator for Classic Me Studio. The Dusty Signal is a fan fiction audio drama that's set in the Fallout 4 universe. Fallout and all related properties are owned by Bethesda Game Studios, and no copyright infringement is intended. This is and always will be a free, non-commercial production. Created, written, and produced by Garrett Klein for Classic Me Studio. Voices were created using 11 Labs AI voice technology. Original song, Vaulted Heart, was created using 11 Labs music generation software. Sound design from Audio Hero, 11 Labs, and My Imagination. Genuinely thank you for listening, and I hope you're enjoying it.